almost 4 months ago now, I started building my very own theme park in Planet Coaster 2, called Discovery Studios, set to have 5 different themed lands, all based on real-life intellectual properties, and so far having completed a Formula 1 themed area, a Wallace and Gromit land, and even an area based on the famous festival DEF CON 1. With those complete, it is now time to move on to the penultimate area, the 4th one, themed to a video game that you're going to find out exactly what it is in just a few minutes. And in today's episode, we are going to start building that area with a brand new roller coaster and our first water ride in the park, which is crazy that this is our first one. But I'm going to show you the entire build process of those ride layouts and even go into the layout of the rest of the area and also what's coming next, because there's a big ride that's going to go in here. So be sure to watch till the end so you don't miss anything, and be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We're on the way to 150,000 subscribers now, so any support towards that goal would be massively appreciated. But either way, if you don't remember, when we finished the DEF CON 1 themed land, I showcased to you an entire show that I'd been working on, or part of that show, to send off the DEF CON 1 land. Now we have finished it, but it didn't end there. Yes, as many of you guessed, this is a brand new area themed to Pokemon. Yes, we're doing a Pokemon themed land. I'm so excited. If you can't tell, I'm also quite ill, which is really, really annoying. But I hope you guys are doing well, and I hope you guys are enjoying the series so far, because we are on episode 13 now, almost 3/4 of the way into this series. And here we are, building the 4th themed area based on Pokemon. Yeah, the reason why this episode isn't the longest and I'm not building like any major theming or even like doing any theming at all is because I've been ill. There's literally no other explanation for it. Usually I sit there and I'm like, oh, I don't want to rush it, so I just haven't had the time and I'll get back to it. No, this time I literally haven't had the energy. So hopefully you guys do enjoy the coaster and the water ride that I do build, though. You've probably seen a little bit in the intro of what they are, but you'll find out properly in a bit. So then, let me talk a little bit, as much as I can, because my voice is so dead right now, my throat is so sore. Let's talk a little bit about why I've chosen Pokemon. Now, as you can see on screen, I'll explain what this is and why this layout of the area is so strange, because you literally walk through the portal, then you have to walk to the right a little bit, and then curl round to then go straight on rather than just going straight on. It looks a bit confusing, but I will explain in due course as I go to now place down the first coaster in this area, the first ride, which is going to be a Mack Family Spinning Coaster. Yes, that's what I've gone for. Those of you who know what Pokemon is, those of you who don't know what it is, you probably know what a Pokeball is. It's such an easy theme for a spinning coaster. As much as I haven't put the theming on it yet, to have the train themed to the Pokeballs, maybe it be the same one as all of the different cars or different Pokeballs, because you have like the Great Ball and the Ultra Ball and the original Pokeball, blah blah blah. I could do so much with that train, and I think a spinning coaster, a family one especially, because it's going to be a family area, I think that would be great, so I decided to do that. But yes, let's talk about why I have chosen Pokemon. I keep getting sidetracked, my apologies. But it's purely because, much like every single other area in this park, I just love the Pokemon game that I am basing this area off of. Of course, the Formula 1 area, I watch Formula 1 religiously, and I am a big fan of that sport. Now, Wallace and Gromit, been a fan of that for my whole life. Absolutely love those films, they're some of my favourite of all time. DEF CON is my favourite festival I've ever been to and has some amazing memories there. And then Pokemon is just something that I used to play all the time when I was a kid on my DS. I wasn't born when Ruby and Sapphire came out on the Game Boy Advance, as much as I wish I played those. But the main ones I always played on my DS was Pokemon Diamond and Pearl and Platinum technically. And I just absolutely love those games so much. They remade them on the Switch many years later, and I played through that and completed it as well. And I just thought, I have to make an area based on that game. It's one of my favourite games of all time. Back in the day, completing that and trying to get past the champion battle with Cynthia, oh my god, it was hell. But I needed to make an area based on that. And if I was going to make a Pokemon themed area, those would be the games I would base this area off of. So all of those weird pathways and everything is all based off of a classic town or city that you would find in the Sinnoh region in the Pokemon games. None of that new crap, all of the new games that came out. I stopped playing after Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, and that was a remake in itself. So technically the last time I played was Black and White on the DS as well. I haven't played any of the new ones. I've heard mixed reviews, but this is all based on the old games because that was where it was at, you know. And then the whole time of me talking about all that, I've pretty much finished the Mack Family Spinning Coaster. As you can see, just a simple layout, very much inspired by Storm Chaser at Paulton's Park. It's got that sort of nice drop off the top, and it goes into like a helix that's still quite high above the ground, and then it starts dipping down into helixes and everything where it is actually quite low to the ground, and it does get a little bit intense. So hopefully that rides quite well once I've done all the custom supports on it, because you can see, oh my god, the support structure on it is not great, is it? But it's running around, just trying to time to see how fast it goes around. I actually do end up off camera changing the layout slightly and adding an extra helix just before it goes into the brake run, because it fell a little bit short and I felt like it had too much speed that it was taking into the brake run, so that made it a little bit nicer. Yeah, it currently goes through some trees and some rocks, which obviously I will remove because that would be one hell of a head chopper. Just smoothing over the entire coaster now just to make it nice and smooth. Obviously, this is quite a weird area for this coaster to be built in compared to all the other areas in the park, because usually you'll walk through the portal, you'll have, well, for instance, the Formula 1 and Wallace and Gromit lands, the coaster is so far back from where the portal is, and then the Defcon 1 land, you walk through the portal and one of the elements or two of the elements of the main coaster there, as much as that coaster is really ridiculous, it's right in front of your eyes. Whereas this is literally, there's part of it, the main part where those helixes are, is behind, if not in line, with where the portal is. So it's very intriguing that I decided to do that. I don't really know why I decided to do that. It's going to make it harder to blend in the front of the portal so you can't see the coasters behind. But you know what? It adds to it, especially if these coaster trains are going to be themed to Pokeballs, which I'd love to do. And as you can see, smoothing out more of it there. I did change the color scheme to like a red and black. That might not stay just because it might be a bit too much of a contrasting color. Might go to like a green color or something just to blend in a bit more. And yeah, just adding all the supports and stuff. Oh, there we go. The head chopper's gone. Oh, no more lawsuit. But as you can see, doing a bit of terrain work as well. I just can't wait to get properly started on this area. You could say I have already started it because I've built an entire major coaster. Not that it's too major because it's still a family coaster, but Mack Family Spinners do cost quite a bit in real life, I'd imagine. But not only is it going to be this coaster and that water ride that I'm building, but obviously I need to do all the theming around that, so it doesn't feel like I've properly started it. And also, all the buildings in this town are going to be based on the ones you see in the game, such as the Poke Centers and the Poke Shops and everything. And then I'm actually going to do I usually keep this in like suspense of like, oh, I'll tell you what it is next episode, but my ill brain doesn't really care right now because I haven't actually done too much this episode, it feels like, as I dig out the area for part of the water ride going in a minute. But I'm actually going to be building a huge dark ride at the back. I'm not going to tell you what dark ride system I'm going to try and replicate, but it's going to be a pretty technical one, and I have a great idea for it. So I will explain that when we go into the park in real time. But here we go. The log flume going in. I just really wanted to make a ride based on some sort of water type Pokemon in the Sinnoh region, and one of the most famous ones that I think everyone knows is Magikarp that evolves into Gyarados, and those two are from the Sinnoh region. I think it's too perfect. Like, I can't not make a water ride theme to them. So I'm going to probably theme this to just water type Pokemon in general, but there will be nice little hints to Gyarados and stuff in there. So if you do have any ideas of theme, like ideas or names as well for the major coaster, I've got a little bit of one for this ride. If you have any like storylines or anything, and of course, as I said, those name suggestions as well, be greatly appreciated, because I do love hearing your guys' name suggestions. They are great. And I hope you guys enjoy this area as much as you have the other ones. The next area, obviously, we're going to build this one for this episode, and then the next two, and then we will start building that final themed area, which is actually split up into 4 segments, so that'll be really fun. So that's quite a big area to build, and I hope you guys enjoy that one as well. But yes, here we go, trying to link this up. At first I was thinking, I don't really want to have like a backwards like drop on it or anything, because I don't want it to be too technical. And then I sort of started basing it off of Chapas at Phantasialand. And then I realised, oh yeah, that has a backwards bit. So why would I not want to put a backwards bit in? So I decided to put that in, because why not? It's got 3 drops. First one's quite big, second quite small, and then the final one is massive. So I decided to put that in as well, and that will splash down directly into that main centre bit that I did dig down for. And you're going to be able to see that from the pathway. As you can see, look at that. I did actually have to lower this down because for some reason the thing couldn't... As I went down the drop, this is the one thing about log flumes I hate in this game, is that you can't build in really small meters. It has to be like really long pieces of track that you have to use, or trough. So when going down the drop, you can't get it right so that it's the same height as the station, when you should be able to do that really easily. And I just couldn't do it. It was like the drop was 5 foot or 9 foot above ground, but the station's 7 foot. Like, it's sort of that stupidity. But, you know, we worked past it. We got there in the end, and we started testing the log flume. I decided to go for that 2-seater per row log flume as well, not just the 1-seater one, because I've done that in my previous park, so I thought let's do something a bit different. And yeah, I also forgot when I started testing it how annoying it is when you don't time the boats up correctly. So when the turntable is resetting, the next boat comes in and just completely dislodges itself and just decides to stop testing the ride. So I had that issue for quite a bit as well. But again, we got there in the end, so it's fine. I just really wanted to have the right hand side of this area. You can see me zooming out a lot and sort of looking at the different angles and everything. I wanted the right hand side to be where all of the big like scale rides are that you can see. So obviously the log flume, you'll be able to see the main drop on that, and like mountainous rock work and everything hopefully up the side of that. So you can see a lot of it, but not too much, whilst there's like all the theming inside. And then obviously you can see the whole Mack Family Spinner as well. But then the left hand side, I want to be more about like the woodlands and everything. Lots of trees, a few small little flat rides here and there, and then right at the back will be that dark ride. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about the theme of that dark ride now, because that won't give away the sort of ride system I want to base it off of, which I'll keep in suspense like I normally do. But the actual theme of that is, I wanted it to be something where it feels like, you know, it's like the boss battle, the final boss of the area, if that makes sense. So it's like the most intimidating ride there, the one that looks the coolest. So I guess take Dark Universe, for instance. When you walk in there, you see Curse the Werewolf off to the left, and you go, oh, that's just a spinning coaster. Like, it looks cool, but, well, it's got a lot of netting on it. Not that our one does. But in this case, you would see the Family Spinner and also the log flume and go, oh, they look really cool. But then you look right in front of you, like you do when it comes to Monsters Unchained, with that huge Frankenstein manor, and you'd go, oh my god, that is intimidating, that looks incredible. Which is what I want to do with the show building and the sort of facade of that dark ride, because it's actually going to be based on what is technically the final boss battle of those games, which is the Pokemon League, where you fight the Elite Four and then go and fight Cynthia, who is the champion, and hopefully try and take her crown of being the next champion. So that's my idea for that ride, and you're going to have, if I can remember to put it up on screen, a recreation of the Pokemon League building. It will be so cool if I can actually do this, and I really hope I can, because there'll be an entire dark ride inside where you go in and fight these Pokemon, and you have your own team and everything. So yeah, I'm really hoping I can do that as I terrain work all of the log flume. I paused for a very long time. I don't know what happened there. And then I'm just working on sort of making this look a little bit better from the ground up by bringing the ground up. And then that final drop. Look at that. Wow. Let's go into real time and have a look. Can you join me here in real time? Not that it's going to be a long real time segment because there's not a lot more to look at. But as you can see, we are outside the Pokemon Areas portal. Once again, I've decided to do what I did with the Defcon 1 land because, well, when I made the Formula 1 portal and also the Wallace and Gromit one, I sort of already knew for certain what I was going to do so I could base the portal off of that. Whereas with the Defcon 1 and this one, I feel like I need to build more of the area first before I build the portal. I don't think we really need the portal anyway, because we might as well just hop the fence and just, well, hop no fence, hop the rocks and go around this side because you're practically already in there. And as we walk through the portal, as you can see, wow, look at the sunlight beaming down on us. To our left, we have a lot of blank space with the trees in the background where you can still see the Defcon 1 land, so I need to do a better job of covering that up. And over to our right, you can clearly see the Mack Family Spinning Coaster right there, running all the way sort of in that area, because like I said in the time lapse, I wanted to make this one corner where the majority of this spinning coaster was based, even with the extra helix that I added right there. And as I explained earlier as well, you come in and you have to do this little right hand turn, and there'll be like a fence in the middle, and then you'll have this lovely town to explore. I'm thinking of putting like a playground in this corner here, various different buildings, and maybe a few flat rides in these gaps, where you also have a building over here that will transition you over into this area of the Defcon 1 land again. This right here will be the plaza area for the entrance and exit of the spinning coaster. I thought I'd put that over here just because, you know, makes the most sense. It's nearest the station. God, my design work is so insane. And then as you continue walking, you have the log flume right here. Oh, look at that. Comes to a nice slow stop before the turn. Brilliant. If I do say so myself, I am actually a big fan of the terrain work behind it, and bear in mind that wasn't done with like the intention of being the final product. I actually think the rockiness and sort of roughness of it suits it quite well. There we go, there's the boat. And I will fill this entire area up with water. Not the whole park, just this land down here as you walk around this pathway here, and there'll be the entrance and exit for the log flume over here, right along this straight bit of path. Over here then, right in this very open spot of land, you can see I have mapped out a nice, well, I'd say nice, a very vague drawing plan of the dark ride building that I'm going to create for this land. And if it really needs to, it can literally span back all the way to the border of the park, which is the first time an area has done this in this park. But it all depends, because the scale of this dark ride, it might actually be necessary to do that. But then again, if you compare the F1 test track building and also the Wallace and Gromit Trouble Off the Tracks building to the amount of space I've given to myself here, maybe I don't need that much room. But yeah, I know right now it doesn't really look like a Pokemon themed area. There's literally nothing that indicates that other than a Pokeball on the portal at the front. So there's literally nothing else to blame for that other than my flu. So thank you for making me ill, world. In the next episode, I'll be focusing on theming up the 2 rides we have built, and also creating some buildings and more flat rides for this section here, which again, any theme or name suggestions for anything here, leave it in the comments. Before in the episode after, focusing on that Pokemon League Dark Ride, and I really hope you guys enjoy that when I do make it. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next couple episodes, because they're going to be very exciting, and leave a like if you want to see more Planet Coaster 2 theme park content in the future. Thanks for watching.